How is it even possible to travel the world for 380 days straight? Travel isn't just about booking flights and hotels. Living out of a suitcase for 380 days meant testing everything. Our money, our health, our relationship, even our mindset and faith. Some days were magical, others were tough. But with each challenge, we discovered smarter ways to travel. And today, we want to share those lessons with you, honestly and unfiltered. So if you're dreaming of your next big trip, there's something you need to hear before you go.
My precious.
Guys, people often ask us, why would you leave behind a stable job, a comfortable home, and everything familiar just to live out of backpacks? You can check out our Quit Korea video for the full story, but in short, we didn't want life to slip by while we only dreamed of someday. So we chose to go now, to see the world, learn, and grow together in ways we never could if we stayed. Let's start with the question we got the most, money. A lot of people assume world travel is only for the rich, but that's not true. Ordinary people like us, like you, can make it happen. So how do we actually fund 380 days on the road? We sold almost everything, our home, our car, and invested most of it into bonds. Why bonds instead of stocks? 3 reasons. First, once we quit our jobs, we had no regular income, so we needed assets that gave us steady cash flow. Second, interest rates were expected to fall worldwide, which meant bond prices were likely to rise. And third, we knew we wouldn't have the time or energy to check stock charts every day while traveling and making videos. Bonds, on the other hand, let us travel with peace of mind. Now, dividends only came in twice a year, so whenever cash flow didn't match up, we drew from our savings account. And along the way, we also sold a portion of our bonds to lock in capital gains. The result? Even after 380 days of travel, our total assets are actually higher than when we started. So, how much did we actually spend? In total, 90 million Korean won, or 65,520 US dollars. That comes out to $172 per day over 380 days. The biggest expense was accommodation, followed by food and transportation. Now, the most expensive country was the US. We spent $13,550 there, 21% of our entire world trip expenses in just 52 days. That's $260 a day, the highest of all countries we visited. High prices, expensive lodging, and eating out with VAT and tips really added up.
오빠 이거 봐. 솔방울.
London came next at $220 a day, and surprisingly, Argentina was third at $217 a day, mostly because of crazy inflation and the cost of frequent domestic flights. On the other hand, Northern Europe, which has a reputation for being extremely expensive, wasn't as bad as we expected. In Iceland, we averaged $208 a day, and in Norway, $187. Pricey, but relatively reasonable compared to the local income levels. The cheapest country? Laos, at just $48 per day. No wonder so many backpackers gather there. But here's the thing, traveling for 380 days is very different from going on a short holiday. Because we didn't know exactly what life after the trip would look like, we made an effort to spend wisely. Before we dive into how we save money while still having fun, let's show you the places we actually visited. Our world journey began in the Philippines before moving on to explore Thailand and Laos, soaking in vibrant cities and peaceful riverside towns. In Southeast Asia, we visited Bangkok's bustling streets, the serene rivers of Laos, Singapore's modern cityscape, and Malaysia's diverse cities from Johor Bahru to Kuala Lumpur. Next, we journeyed through Central Asia, exploring Almaty, Bishkek, and the historic Silk Road cities of Tashkent and Samarkand. In the Caucasus and Turkey, we marveled at ancient architecture and landscapes from Baku to Istanbul and the magical rock formations of Cappadocia. Southern and Eastern Europe offers stunning coastal views and historic cities. In Italy, we explored pretty much all major spots from Positano all the way up to Milan, while in Greece and Croatia, we enjoyed islands and medieval towns. Northern Europe amazed us with dramatic landscapes from Iceland's volcanic terrain to Norway's fjords and beautiful gems in Switzerland, Germany, and Austria. Western Europe offered vibrant cities, historic landmarks, and Mediterranean vibes from France and Spain to Portugal and London. We also explored parts of Asia and Oceania from Mumbai to Bali and experienced the dynamic cities and beaches of Australia. South America was full of vibrant culture and natural wonders. We saw Buenos Aires, the Iguaz Falls, Rio, and Bolivia's stunning salt flats, and of course, hiked Patagonia's all-day trekking route. Finally, we explored North America, enjoying beaches in Mexico and diverse cities across the USA, from Miami to San Francisco. Our journey came full circle in Japan. After traveling across 37 countries, 150 cities, experiencing countless cultures, landscapes, and unforgettable moments. On this 380-day journey with Jin, we traveled through 37 countries. Counting the ones I had visited before, I've explored 62 countries in total. And people always ask me the same question: which country do you recommend the most? Jin, which country was your favorite and why?
The country I enjoy the most is Norway.
Norway.
Yeah, it's a paradise for nature lovers with unforgettable experiences like chasing the northern lights and hiking up to Preikestolen.
Yes, Preikestolen.
It's also the perfect place to slow down, whether you're unwinding in a sauna or staying in a cozy cabin by the fjords.
Yes, fjords.
And even the big cities feel remarkably safe, just like Korea. What about you, Sean?
Oh, it's the same for me. Norway is definitely my top pick. The country not only offers breathtaking natural scenery, but also gives you the chance to truly experience slow living.
This way?
Yeah, unlike many other places around the world, you can travel there with peace of mind, without worrying about pickpockets or muggings. For me, that sense of safety is a huge factor when choosing where to travel. Okay, so for challenges and reality check. Now, let us also share about the country where we had the toughest time, the United States. And to all Americans watching, please don't take this personally. This is just our own experience and perspective, but we would like to share why we felt that way. Of course, we also experienced some very positive aspects during our time in the US. It's a country where even strangers are open to small talk, right? People are generally positive, quick to smile, and often greet you with eye contact. Some of our most impressive moments were standing in awe of the dazzling skyscrapers of New York and watching the breathtaking Noah musical in Lancaster near Philadelphia. So, why did we find the US to be the most difficult country for us? First, no matter which city we visited, we always had to check which neighborhoods were considered unsafe before booking accommodation or planning our schedule. In many places, walking around at night simply wasn't an option, so we often felt uneasy while traveling.
Yes, in nearly every major US city, I found myself feeling uneasy and nervous around each corner. Sure enough, in New York, my bag was stolen in just a split second.
Sadly, so true. Second, out of all the countries we visited, the US was the only place where we actually got bitten by bed bugs. Once at an Airbnb in New York, and even on a train. And this happened despite the fact that we always choose clean, well-reviewed places to stay. Third, it was by far the most expensive country, but the experience didn't match the cost. Eating out meant paying not just the menu price, but also VAT and tips. And since we had to avoid high-risk areas and carefully pick hotels with no bad bug reviews, our accommodation costs were much higher than expected.
I found mushrooms. Look
Oh.
over there.
Mushrooms. Okay, for your own benefit, we share all the pro travel tips we learned and practiced during our 380-day trip around the world. First, how do we decide where to travel? Number one, we ask ourselves, whether the destination had a compelling reason to visit. Maybe breathtaking nature, iconic architecture, or a chance to gain new insights. Number 2, since we mostly travel by plane, affordable flight tickets were another big factor. Number 3, we also look closely at accommodation availability and cost. There were times when we arrived somewhere only to find hotels either extremely expensive or nearly impossible to book, like Barcelona in Spain. And we caught ourselves asking, why did we even come here? Number 4, finally, we had to consider visa requirements. For example, if you are not an EU citizen, the Schengen Agreement limits you to 90 days within Europe. And visa issues should never be taken lightly. It's not always as simple as getting one on arrival. Sometimes entry visas can be denied or end up being far more expensive and time-consuming than expected. That's why it's crucial to check in advance whether you can apply online before you go. Second, booking and planning. We always check visa rules, safety concerns, insurance coverage, and even drone regulations before purchasing plane tickets. For flights, we use Skyscanner with flexible days, and if direct flights were too expensive, we look for stopovers and treated them as mini trips. For accommodation, we rely on Google Maps and Airbnb. And here's a hidden pro tip. Always cross-check prices. Jin and I would search separately and often found different rates for the exact same property. Another tip here, when checking reviews, don't just read the complaints, also pay close attention to how the host or hotel responds. If they sound rude or defensive, or worse, accuse guests unfairly, we avoid booking there. And finally, if you couldn't book well in advance, say 2 months ahead, try last minute deals a day or even hours before arrival. It's a bit of gamble, but if plenty of accommodation options are available, you can save a lot this way. Third, transportation. In cities, we use both Uber and local ride-hailing apps, which were often cheaper and more reliable. Here's another hidden tip. Always cross-check prices with your travel mate, because the offers can differ. And when it came to calling taxis, Jean often managed to secure a ride more easily than I did. Maybe because she's a woman and seemed to get some advantage on ride-hailing apps. Public transport was our go-to wherever it felt safe. Not only cheaper, but also the best way to experience local life. We always checked if tap and go with international cars was supported and used day or weekly passes to save money. Fourth, on the ground, we avoided guided tours, preferring to set our own pace, skipping quickly through some places and slowing down in others. To find hidden gems, we pinned spots on Google Maps and asked locals for recommendations, adjusting plans based on the weather and our energy. And when it came to food, we challenged ourselves, and now challenge you to always try local dishes instead of sticking to global franchises. Fifth, pickpockets. As many of you know, Jean had her phone pickpocketed in Lisbon and her bag stolen in New York. She learned it the hard way. So listen carefully to what she has to say. Jean!
I always thought pickpockets were something that happened to other people, not me, because I was careful. I carried my bag in front. I used the phone case with a strap. I kept it close to my body all the time. I felt safe, but in Lisbon, it still happened. I was walking, not distracted. Someone passed by so quietly. No sound, no bump. And my phone was gone. He took it out of the case without me even noticing. That's when I learned no tool is 100% safe. Pickpockets do this for a living. They always find new tricks. So the only real way to stay safe is always keep your eyes and hands on your valuables. Never relax. Not even for a moment. Right, Shan?
Yes. Finally, well-being. To travel well, you need to stay healthy, both physically and mentally. We manage this mainly by eating well. We cooked whenever possible, buying fresh vegetables, meat, and seafood from local groceries to keep our meals balanced. Taking vitamins also helped, whether as supplements or naturally through fruits like oranges and lemons. Just as important is your mindset. Jin and I meditated by reading the Bible and praying together. Traveling in unfamiliar places can bring stress and conflict, and it did for us too. But through prayer and trying to see each other with God's eyes, we learn to love each other even in hard times. Even if you are not a believer, it's valuable to pause, reflect, and talk openly with your travel mates to avoid conflicts. After 380 days of traveling around the world, we returned to Korea. When we first left, our plan was to settle in another country. But along the way, as we compared Korea with so many places we visited, we realized that Korea is actually one of the best places to live. For more on this, you can check out our previous Again Korea video.
어머니 1년만.
고생했어요 여행한다고.
So what did you think of this video? Did it help you plan your next trip? Or maybe even inspire you to consider a world trip like ours? Would you ever consider quitting your job to travel the world for 380 days? Let us know in the comments.
Thanks for watching for 1 year.
Yes, thanks for watching for the entire year. If you like your video, please make sure to hit subscribe, like, or comment. Thanks for your support as always. See you in the next video.
What will be the next video?
You'll see. Bye bye.
Bye.